I'm Carrie, a holistic health practitioner, trauma-informed coach, and a mom who's walked through some of life's darkest, hardest tests. And along the way, I've learned to transmute pain into purpose. Guided by lived experience, professional training, and a deep, deep intuition, I'm called to show you how to do the same. Let me show you how to trust yourself so that even if your branch that you land on breaks along the way, you'll know how to fly. You'll know you're in the right place if you are a cycle breaker, a black sheep in your family, someone who has wounds and has had to heal them on their own, or maybe you're on that journey. If that's you, stay with me because I have a lifetime of trauma, not seeing that in a victim way, and that is not diminishing your experience or mine, but I'm saying that from an empowered stance because while I am very much still in the throes of trauma and challenges as you are, I want to be a soft landing in a hard world where there is just a lot of yapping and a lot of content and a lot of overconsumption and a lot of numbing and a lot of people who call themselves gurus. This is just real. This is just real. And I want to offer the tools that I have learned from my own experiences and I'm going to put this out here from the beginning. This is not going to be a perfect place. It's not going to be curated and polished. It's going to be raw and real. And there are trigger warnings from the start because I am going to talk about the things that I experienced that I've never shared before. That include things like abuse and shootings and fires and accidents and sexual assault and all the things. So be warned. Please do not leave because of the trigger. Please only stay if you feel called and you want to learn why these things happen, what you're doing here, why you have to suffer. And I'm not saying we only are here to suffer. That's part of something I really want to be clear about. We are not here to suffer, but our soul comes here with lessons to fulfill. And some of that we agreed to suffering. More on that. But I want to make sure that you listen to on whether or not you should stay and be a part of this channel and this platform. I would love to have a community of like-hearted, like-minded, soulful, hungry souls who are in transformation or looking for transformation, or maybe you are just lost, and maybe you are misunderstood, and maybe you do not feel seen, and maybe you do not feel heard or understood. I already said that, but obviously that's a wound of mine. I am willing to bet that you found me because the universe sent you here, because your soul is seeking something. So if that's you, I see you. I understand you, and I promise you that what I can offer is value that will help you understand you more and will help you understand your story more and why and how to make. And that's not because I'm a master. That's because I am. You want to take guidance from somebody who's walked the path and is coming back from there. And I can say that I have walked that path 100 million times over, and I'm still walking that path. But I've gleaned tools and realizations that I wish I could have had so much earlier on as a child when it all started. And I'm willing to bet it started for you as a child as well. I want to be, and my intention with my own children and in my life is to be somebody that I needed as a child to offer that unconditional love. I had to reparent myself. I had to heal on my own, not because I have a terrible family, and I'm not saying my family was definitely not perfect. And I will share more where I have more boundaries on my other social media. I'm high stakes vulnerability here because some of the things that I have been through are really unbelievable. And I have not shared them out of boundaries, necessity, boundaries of the rest of my family, friends of my family, honestly, shame, guilt, embarrassment, all of the feelings that you've probably felt yourself. Maybe that's something that you're here for, is to learn your emotions. That's something that I teach my clients in my one-on-one coaching. Is I've learned that most of us were not taught what we're feeling actually, what anger actually is, and what is beneath anger, because anger is actually a secondary emotion. Most of us are walking around with shame and guilt and fear and abandonment wounds and rejection wounds and fear of failure and fear of success. Yes, that's a thing, you guys. If any of this resonates, you are in the right spot. So this is hard for me. It's hard for me because I never want to come off as if I look off, it's because I'm often channeling what I'm supposed to say. And so it can come off as very disorganized. That's just me. I'm an Aquarius rising. I never want to come off as like a woe is me. That's part of the reason why I never shared some of the really icky stuff that I've been through and have survived. And when I say survived, I'm telling you, I definitely have had more than one near-death experience, which is really hard to say. And I have seen the other side, and I have seen our creator, and I have come back by choice. Some days I wonder why. If I'm being totally honest, it has not been easy, but I'm assuming you're here because it has not been easy. So I feel like I can't really dump 30 years of trauma in one video, but I think where I want to begin is the black sheep part, the cycle breaker part. I want to remind you guys straight out of the gate of something I feel is very important that I learned on my healing journey from my severe experiences growing up. One thing about your caretakers, if your caretakers are your caretakers for your whole life, or if you've had many caretakers, the one thing that is certain is that they were children also. They were children also, and 100% of all of us are walking around wounded children. I am not here to excuse any behavior. I am not here to victimize anyone. I'm not here to victim shame anyone. Let's be very clear from the start. I learned to have compassion for the many children, wounded children walking around the planet, whether they are grown versions of that. Like I say to my clients, like our parents are grown, like 7-year-olds walking around in a grown meat suit, aka your body. They're souls, but they're wounded. And so I know from the depths of my soul, without allowing permission for how they might have treated you, that they are functioning from the wounded child within that did not get what they needed from their parents. And this goes on and on and on, which is why it's called generational trauma. This pattern of the receiver of the experience, or neglect of emotion, or abandonment, or all of the mother-father wounds. You guys, the mother is self and the father is others. Your strained relationship with your mother is going to strain your relationship with yourself. And your strained relationship with your father is going to be projected into other relationships. That is a very, very simplified version of mother-father wounds, and I will dive deeper into more specifics in a one episode for that. But I think it's important to name what is at the very foundation of so many of us, all of us. It's safe to say all of us. We are the product of the woundedness that comes from our caretakers very early on. So if that means you were born a highly sensitive person, let's just say, because I think I'm speaking to most of you, in the womb of your mom, whether you know her or not, whether she's here or not, God bless you, and whatever pain you've been through, you started to experience her wounds in the womb. The wounding of your mom has energetic imprint from her mom and from her mom, and you get the point, that passes energetically into the womb. So it starts there. You may not believe me, but trust me, it does. We literally inherit, and I don't mean genetically, the nervous system of our mothers, the belief system of our mothers. There is a rhyme and reason for the order that you were born, your siblings or not having siblings, your relationships with your caretakers, and what your relationships are in your current life, whether it's with your own children, your partners, your friends, platonic, not, work, what you do with professionally, all ties back to what happened when you were a child. Everything that you've experienced from the moment you were birthed started to be clocked by your nervous system, and our subconscious mind starts to collect data points that starts the building of belief systems. And the more that our nervous system scans, my hand is yellow from supplements, depending on how sensitive you are, I really believe all of us are highly sensitive, and I just think some of us spend more time numbing than others. But highly sensitive people will pick up the cues in a room of the people that they love the most, aka parents, caretakers, and then siblings, to see if they're safe. If you had a parent who is an addict, you as a child were so wise, you knew to pause, feel, see, and sense the energy of whether or not that parent was safe. If you had a father who was emotionally unavailable, never told you I love you, wasn't physically there or wasn't emotionally there, you learned that you had to find it other ways, and you learned that you were on your own. So abandonment wound is tied to mother and father, but the fear of abandonment will manifest almost all the time as an adult. You guys, this goes so deep, and the good news is that wherever you are today that you're finding take this as your sign. Take this as your sign that you have found a place where you can start to unpack what you have been through and why. What is the purpose of the wounds that you've experienced? Why you are the way that you are? Why your relationships are the way that they are? How to make them different? How to transform? How to start healing? I do this one-on-one every day, but like I said, I wanted to offer more here so that more people, because not everybody can, have a coach. I never had a coach up until like my 30s, early 30s. Mentors, guides, be careful. Be careful about who you look to. There is no guru. I am not a guru. I am just someone walking a path. Unfortunately, or fortunately, my experience began as a young child. I was born with colic, aka gut issues. What's in the gut? The immune system, and also the sacral chakra, and also the root chakra, and all of the enteric nervous system and autonomic nervous system and nerves, and the vagus nerve runs through there, and all of that runs how we feel the world. And those of us who are intuitive, highly sensitive, star seeds, etc., all of that information starts to build up, and we start to become the empath, right? We're all empaths. We're all empaths, but because we had to be. Because if we did not learn to feel out the room that we were in and the people that were supposed to be taking care of us, how would we be safe? How would we keep ourselves safe if we did not feel and watch for signals of safety? That is what you're doing today. Still. And so I want you guys to stay and get to know what those signals are, what your body's saying, what your nervous system is saying, what your wounding is saying, because it's not just that you're broken. You're not fucking broken. Yeah. And I mean, cuss warning. I don't know if I need to be doing that, but like warning you guys. I personally love that word. I think it's very expressive. So it is what it is. But you're not fucking broken. Okay? You are here with a mighty purpose. The fact that you were born Think about the infinite miracles that had to happen for you to be born today in this time. If you're finding this, it's because you have a mighty purpose. It's because you were chosen. It's because you were chosen to break the cycles. It's because you were chosen to change the trajectory of your life, because that is what I have been working on. If I did not do the work that to heal the things that happened to me, and I'm healing. There's not an end point. It's a process that is ongoing. It's a moving target, if I'm being honest. I wouldn't be here. I had periods of time where I wanted to not be here anymore. Many, starting very young, too young. That's a trigger warning too, but it's the truth. I had periods of time where I didn't want to be here anymore. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take the pain. I couldn't take the abuse. I couldn't take the assault. I couldn't take the threat to my life. I thought God wanted me dead. That's the truth. At one point, I thought God wanted me dead. I know now that is 100% not what was going on, but that's what it feels like sometimes. Why are you doing this? Right? How many times have you said that? Our soul signed up for certain lessons, and the manifestation of those lessons is per your soul's journey. But I am sorry for what you have been through, because I know it's been hard. First part of my life was spent in physical pain. I don't know why. I had chronic strep throat. I had constant stomach aches. I spent most of my life on antibiotics because my parents didn't know better and put me on antibiotics for my skin. My skin, that's its own trauma. If you've ever had skin issues, you know that it's traumatic. My skin was a nightmare for many years. It's why I created the skincare line that I have now. Another story for another day. The real challenge, my first real challenge, started as an 11-year-old or a 10-year-old, when I already did not feel enough, because I was one of 4 siblings, all girls, and all I wanted was to be seen and understood and loved and heard as a middle child. The middle child is the lost soul. The middle child is often the black sheep. The middle child is often the cycle. Let me know if you're a middle child. You don't have to be to have wounds. It's just a very specific birth role. One of my siblings decided that they just hated everything about me and started physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, energetically abusing me early on. And I thought I deserved it because she told me so. Did I say something? Yeah, I did. I finally said something. Because I felt like I couldn't hide it anymore. I remember where my parents went out to dinner, left me with my sibling, and I think I was like 10, and my sibling had a large party, and at that party, many things happened. It's one of the most vivid memories that I have. This is hard to talk about, so bear with me. Not only did I was assaulted by one of the males that came to that party, I also endured a physical beating from my sibling after most people left before my parents came home. She had been drinking and I'm grabbing my stomach because this is where I hold all of my tension. And if you don't know, I'm going through a current health crisis because of the house crisis that has just happened in the last 12 months. But that, you get see how scattered I am? Bear with me. ADHD, whatever. I came home and my sibling had hit me in the face with a beer can. My parents asked me what happened, and that was the night that I told them. And I told them more than that. I told them that it's been happening, that every time they leave, it happens. I told them that I was being hurt and bullied at school by her and her friends. They were awful. They made me want to die. I was probably 14 when I got to the point where I was like, I mean, she hates me and they hate me and everyone hates me and I'm useless because I was told so. My parents did not believe me, guys. I don't think they could. I don't actively blame my parents, but I can still witness the truth to be able to heal from it. So my parents let it happen and let it keep happening for years. I think they know now, but they still won't acknowledge it. And I won't speak on the state of my sibling because, trust me, karma is real. But that memory I feel like it set off the rest of the years of trauma I had. And so I think that was like middle school when that happened, right? Yeah. 6th grade. I don't really know how deep I want to go into every single thing that happened, but middle school, high school, I ended up partying, skipping school, numbing out, doing everything I could to find a way to feel safe in my body. That included the manifestation of the beginning of father wounds when your father doesn't understand you, doesn't believe you, doesn't approve of you, doesn't validate you like every child needs. You start to act out and seek the attention that you need. So even if you have to get it negatively, that's what happens. I started seeking attention from boys in a negative way. I started skipping school. I started doing drugs. Partied for years, numbing the pain, physical and emotional and energetic, of the way that I felt the world so deeply, because I found out later that I am highly psychic, like probably some of you. And we all have the ability to see, and the deep knowing and that gut feeling. Those are all abilities that God gave us. It's overwhelming. And so, yeah, it was overwhelming as a child to feel the world the way that I did, and also have my family not choose me, leave me, not believe me, call me a liar, leave me to be hurt over and over again. I feel like they let it happen. I know they let it happen. And again, circling back to learning that my parents are also wounded children, and their parents did the best they could with them, but they can only show up as far as they healed themselves. And I know that my mother has her own wounds from her mother being an addict, and my father has his own wounds from being a Arabic oldest of many, with lots of interesting mental health issues in their family. It's very complicated, but so is your life, and so is your family. And the reality is, most of our families and most of the dynamics are very complicated, but you do not have to carry your wounds to your children. Or if you don't have children, consider this the work that will keep you from perpetuating those cycles. You do not have to feel alone, broken, in pain. Maybe you're suffering from chronic health issues. That's how, again, how mine manifested as well. Going into the physical traumas that came after middle school and into high school, shit that you can't even imagine, shit that I will talk about. But to like, I'm not trying to dump it into one video, but let's just say, I mean, sometimes people don't even believe me. My closest friends who know this stuff don't even like I don't even know if they believe me. But eventually my body, keeping the score of everything, broke down and I became chronically ill, and which led to a near-death experience. I'm jumping the timeline from high school to after my second child just for a minute. Everything that I had been through up until that point, including assaults, shootings, fires, plane crashes, led me to emergency brain surgery, you guys. I was struggling with chronic health issues, Epstein-Barr, chronic viruses, felt like shit and still do most days. But it's not because my body's broken, it's because it held the information that I never said out loud. Did I go to therapy? Yeah. Did it work? No. Did your therapy work? I now coach people in a trauma-informed way different than cognitive behavioral therapy. But trust me when I say, you are not here by accident. What you went through is valid. Your experiences are real. You are the experiencer, and no one outside of you can tell you what is true and what isn't. That I say with conviction. I want to share with you the deepest, hardest things, because I have been able to transmute a lot of that and turn it into purpose. Not because I'm special, but because that was my path. And I feel like I am meant to use my voice in that way so that you can feel Like, you're not alone for once. I want you to know it's okay to feel the way you do. It's valid to feel hurt by the people that you were supposed to love the most. You did not do anything to deserve it. You did not deserve to suffer. You do not deserve to suffer. And so, damn, that was like so disorganized and all over the place. And I really hope somewhere along the way this has resonated. And I want you to know I am here to offer you understanding, tools, a place to come, connect, a community, because this life is hard. This life is hard. And we have to walk each other home in the end. Nobody's trauma is worse than anyone else's. Yes, there are children in other countries going through absolute hell. I acknowledge that. I don't know why theirs is that way. I am not God. I just know our souls signed up for certain lessons, and that goes for every human that was carnated in this time. So I want to help. I am able to help. And if you have found any value in this disorganized introduction, stay, see if you can find some healing here. And if you don't feel like it resonates, don't stay. But I'm here to help. I'm here to serve. Because part of my negotiation and my near-death experience was that if I was meant to come back, I told God if I was meant to come back, that I would serve and help others. And so that is what I am here meant to do. And I hope and pray, my prayer is that you find what you need here on this channel. And I appreciate you trusting me. And I appreciate you having grace for my disorganized, messy self, breathing all the way through. Let's do this together. And one thing that I want to also make certain is that you matter. You can make a ripple every day in someone else's life. And by doing that, you are serving also. That means a compliment, helping someone out, whatever it is. Start becoming the person and embodying the person that you needed. Stay with me, walk with me. We can do this. We can get through this together. I love you guys, whoever you are. Let's get to know each other and do this together. Thank you so much for listening to Bird on a Branch. If any of this has resonated, sit with it. Better yet, let me know by leaving me a comment on your favorite platform. And don't forget to subscribe and follow the show so that you never miss what's coming. See you next time.